Guys, you need to stop listening to YouTubers or so-called reviewers who just trash on games or movies or series or books or whatever. Like, I grew up with this stuff. I went onto YouTube because of the AVGN and because of the Nostalgia Critic, but you just gotta stop listening to them. Why? Because they just exaggerate stuff for clicks. It's just entertainment, alright? It's not genuine. They don't really hate all movies and games and whatever. They just know that outrage sells. Sex sells, and just hating on stuff sells. The problem with that, though, is that whatever they do trash on will be remembered as such. And I eventually realized that I actually really do enjoy many quote-unquote bad games. And that those bad games have a lot of positives that just never get mentioned, because people only focus on the bad stuff. And today I'd like to talk about many of those quote bad games. And while I will talk about games, this obviously also applies to movies, series, books, etc, etc. Anyway, first game is Castlevania II. Yes, AVGN's very first video that put him on the market, and arguably every single other ranting YouTuber / reviewer out there. And many of the complaints boil down to it just being awful compared to the original. It's like too slow, the bosses are way too easy, the game's too cryptic, it looks ugly, the day-night cycle is a bad mechanic. And the funny thing is that I think all of these things are what make the game better. Even better than the original in a lot of aspects. I actually like it more than the original. Castlevania 1 is a very fast-paced game. It's very arcadey. You just zip through the stages as fast as you can, or as fast as the game allows, before you can just die instantly. While Castlevania 2 is the opposite. It's a lot slower, it's a lot more methodical, and the difficulty is less about getting knocked into pits or enemy spam. It's more about exploration and experimentation. You still have to go fast to get the good ending, which is why the game is actually much easier than Castlevania 1. And that's what the day and night cycle actually plays into. It doesn't just pass for no reason. You have a certain amount of days, I think it's 30, to finish the game, and the longer you take, the less of a good ending you get. It doesn't really matter which ending you get, it's just different flavor text at the end, but it's still something to work towards too. So if you just want to reach the end, then you can go as slow as you want. But if you want to get the best ending, then you gotta move a bit quicker, think a bit faster. And honestly, I think Castlevania 2 has way stronger visuals and atmosphere. It's moodier, it's darker, it has this eerie, almost depressing vibe, really fitting the Eastern European setting. Is Transylvania in Eastern Europe? I can even check this out. Transylvania. That's in Romania. Yeah, it's Central Europe. Yeah, you know what I mean. It really fits the aesthetic, and that's what I really love about it. But most importantly, this was the first non-linear Castlevania. Even Castlevania 3 and 4 weren't this open-ended. So basically, this game walked so Symphony of the Night could run, and the series arguably wouldn't exist without it. So the next time you trash on the game for being too cryptic and you don't know where to go, think about what it actually did for the series. And maybe sit down with a pen and paper and take some notes, because that's what I did and I had a good time. The next game I want to talk about is Bubsy, a game whose reputation has been ruined by decades of YouTubers trashing on it, mainly JonTron. And that's not even close to the worst things he's done. And everyone else just jumped on the bandwagon after this video. And the funny thing is that I don't think most people ever even really played it. Well, I, for one, I finished it recently. And I have to say, I really liked it. It has its flaws, like enemies hitting you from off screen and not knowing where you can and can't jump, and sometimes you go way too fast and then you bump into a wall or a pit or whatever. And I will say that yes, these flaws exist and I don't want to downplay them. But everything else is blown way out of proportion. There's fall damage in the game? Literally just fly. You die a lot? Well, the game's pretty generous when it comes to lives, and it even has passcodes for every level. And being too fast and running into stuff from off screen? that's just Sonic. That's every single Sonic game, and that's one of the main things I hate about that series. And yet, everyone else loves Sonic, and Sonic can do no wrong. What I love about Bubsy is that you can really feel how passionate the devs were and how they studied Sonic and what makes those games great. Mainly Sonic 1, I don't think Sonic 2 was out at that point, but you can really feel that passion. It's very quirky, it's weird, it's silly in a really charming way. Bubsy just oozes personality. He's a bit cheeky, a bit mischievous, but he also has to take a lot of damage, and I think that adds to his like little wet baby boy personality in a way. I gotta say, his deaths have really funny animations, and even if I kept dying the same way 100 of times, it still got a little bit of a chuckle out of me. Especially love it when you fall on water, he just throws up his arms and just smiles at the camera. No idea why he does that. I just find it funny. And I think it's a very fun game in general. In fact, I liked it way more than Sonic 2. So it's not this heartless, soulless corporate cash grab that they just churned out to cash in on Sonic's success or anything. No, the developers really wanted to create something great and unique, and I think that's what makes the game so special. Our next title is Dear Esther, the OG walking simulator. And walking sims is a genre that a lot of people hate because, oh, it's just walking and oh, there's no gameplay and whatever. And I already made a video about why that's false. You can just watch that if you like. But the walking simulator that most people seem to hate is Dear Esther. Especially Jim Stephanie Sterling still hates on it these days. Which I find very funny. Yes, Dear Esther was the original walking simulator and they all had to come from somewhere, and not all ideas that the game had were the greatest. It's a bit slow here and there. It's more of an interactive painting than a real game, but even compared to other walking simulators, it has many unique ideas that you don't really see that much anymore. For instance, the story is very fragmented and it's non-linear. It's even contradictory. The whole game, in fact, is randomized. There's these little things you can find, little landmarks, and even the voice lines of the narrator that are all just completely random. So every playthrough of the game is going to be unique. And whatever happens in the game, whatever the story of the game is entirely up for interpretation. There is no clear answer. Like I said, it's contradictory. And that's not even mentioning the absolutely gorgeous visuals and music. Like I said, it's more of an interactive painting, and sometimes I just like to pause and look at everything. It's very relaxing, very calming, and that's what I like about it. And I think Dear Esther is a perfect example of why games can be more than just fun gameplay. They can be an experience that everyone can take something special away from. And the final game, or games rather, is The Legend of Zelda Faces of Evil / Wand of Gamelon. Yes, the funny YouTube poop games. Oh, it's the worst Zelda games. Oh, it's Nintendo's biggest mistake is what I hear about it. Oh, it's so goofy and cringy and weird, and the gameplay is so boring and too simple. Shut up, okay? I really like these games, and I will make a video about them one day when I can be bothered. I think the funny thing is that while they're only remembered for being funny YouTube poop games, I actually think that the animations are its biggest strengths. It's a very creative game. I mean, those animations are very silly and over the top, but they're visually mesmerizing. They flow really well from one frame to the next. It's like a lava lamp. And you don't really see that done these days, even in animations and other games. When someone makes a 2D animated game or something, sure, they look really great, and what they do is really great as well, but at the same time, you don't see this almost abstract art style anymore. I always love finding new guys to talk to just to see what kind of crazy thing they had to say and how crazy they looked saying it. And as for the characters, as for this being the worst Zelda game or whatever, no, it's really not, because Link and Zelda are not out of character. This Link is very goofy, but he's also sincere. He's just a teenager with a really good heart. And Zelda, on the other hand, is strong and caring, but she can also be a bit sassy and fight back if necessary. and she has way more agency in the story than any other Zelda. In fact, I would say that CDI Zelda is one of the best Zeldas of all time. Yeah, you heard me. And I feel like many people overlook these small details, and they only see them as these dumb caricatures of famous Nintendo characters or whatever. Even RZ, a game that was based on the CDI Zeldas, didn't really get that, where the main character, RZ, is based on Zelda, but I find her to be way more cruel than the OG Zelda, which I didn't really care for. I didn't like her as a character, and I find that very funny that for a game that basically studied the originals endlessly, it still got some things not quite right. As for the gameplay, I think it's fine. It's more puzzle solving than combat. You just really need the right item at the right time, which is why the bosses die instantly. It's more about finding out which items it is. I just find it nice and simple. I like it. It's neat. I think Planet Clue puts it into words better than I could throughout this entire video, so what am I doing here?
If there's anything you should take away from this video, it's to generate your own opinions. And I don't mean absorbing internet people's opinions through osmosis. I mean actually sitting down and playing a game uninfluenced and feeling your own way about it. But I'm sure there will be plenty of people in the comments that are like, this game actually sucks and you're just weird. I have a Bubsy 3D poster on my wall. It brings me daily inspiration. Why can't we both be right? You have the ability to not agree with or respect my opinion, and just because I'm in a YouTube video doesn't change that.
I argue that some of the quote worst games out there have way more to offer than any modern AAA title. So I really want you to try games out and experience them for yourself. Don't just listen to YouTubers who just want your clicks. And the same applies to me. I've trashed on many games before, and I'm not always right. I just talk the loudest. And the same even goes for grifters who complain about woke games or how the left is ruining games and go woke and go broke or whatever. They just want your money, they want your clicks, they don't actually believe this garbage. You also have to put this criticism into perspective. I mean, the worst Mario game out there is still one of the best games of all time. OMG, this filet mignon is not nearly as good as the lobster thermidor. What has the world come to? This is what you sound like when you complain about the faces of evil. Basically, if you look for flaws, you will find them, and easily. But finding positives can be just as easy, if you allow it. So be rational, keep an open mind, and be willing to give new things a try. Even if those new things look like the worst thing ever to you, because you might find something that you really enjoy. Thanks for watching. Oh, and just that you know, I know the top comment is gonna be like, you said not to listen to YouTubers, so I shouldn't listen to this video or something. You're not funny. You're not original, right? You know that? I know you're going to do that. I'm very much aware of it. Don't do it. It's not funny. It's really not funny. Don't do it. Alright? Alright.